All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cliff's Notes. Today is Writer Downer Day with Mama Slay. You're going to meet her next right here on Cliff's Notes. Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. Yeah, we guarantee it every week right here at Cliff's Notes. And welcome today to episode, this is 51, right, Travis?
This is the big 5-1.
This is the 5-1. Man, I remember when I was that young. I'll tell you, that was not that long ago. Well, I'm kind of lying about that, aren't I? Yeah, it's been a while. Sure has. But
you don't look a day over 30, Cliff.
Over 30, yeah. Thank you very much, Travis. By the way, don't forget, I owe you that check here when on the way out. But thank you very much. And I'd like to welcome co-host C3 here. Good to see you, my friend, always. And we have a very special guest, dear friend of ours from the neighborhood here, Tammie Slay. And Mama Slay, right? Is that what they call you? Your clients call you Mama Slay?
Some call me Mama Slay. My kids' friends call me Mama Slay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I thought Dragon Slayer would have been appropriate, but she said nobody calls her Dragon Slayer.
Mama Slay.
Mama
just
Slay?
a bit better.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I say that, for those of you who don't know Tammie, she's got an illustrious career here in Frisco. Has her own brokerage. It's what a great name, Hip Brokerage. Now, Hip Realty.
Hip Realty Group.
Hip Realty Group.
Yeah.
Now, was that named after a car wreck or no? I'm just kidding. You didn't break a hip or anything, did you?
Break a hip.
No. Okay.
Not yet.
No, but it's because you guys are hip, right?
We actually are hip.
Okay.
But it was actually named from our core values. So our core values are honor, integrity, and perseverance. So we created a list of core values initially before we created the name of the company. And so out of that was a month-long exercise. Wow. And out of that month-long exercise, we built the name and the brand Hip Realty Group, starting from our core values.
So actually, I knew that because we wrote honesty, integrity, and perseverance in the pre-marketing. But I just wanted to see if you knew it. No, I'm just kidding.
You got me.
But Hip Realty. So a lot of people think, but just naturally they think that's hip. You're hip.
Yeah.
And you are. You've got like your agents' cars have hip license plates and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What a great brand. I love it. Easy to remember. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit. And by the way. One of the reasons why our audience enjoys the show is because we bring people like you. And by the way, you're a coach for Verl Workman, right? Okay. Yeah. And we were talking before the show. It's like people got to get out their checkbooks and stroke a check every month for like how much? $1,750 just to get two 30-minute phone calls with you. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, how many people do you know that can just command $1,750 a month for 2 30-minute phone calls? So what you're doing, you must be pouring a lot of value into people's lives, right?
Absolutely.
So will you promise our audience today that we're going to drop miles of value here on them during the show?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So don't go anywhere. Get your piece of paper out and let's get ready to rock and roll. But hey, you know what? Before we get started, I did want to do one thing. Travis, do you have our little ad that came out in the D magazine?
I do.
Thank you, sir. I want to just shout out to my team up there in the top right-hand corner. Everybody, great job. We actually started this team at the beginning of the year, really officially.
It's amazing.
So we've grown to 35 agents and going strong. And everybody on our team is awesome. And we have a really good program for them. So thank you guys for all your hard work and contributions serving the clientele that we do. And congratulations on the D Magazine Award. Just real excited about that.
Hey,
all right.
Congratulations to you and C3 as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
You guys look really sharp.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Well, it's I have a really good makeup artist, and that's why it looks so good. But no, the team is really where the credit goes here. We just shine the light and kind of give them a little hint or two about where to go. That's what a good coach does, though, right?
That is what a good coach does. Yes.
Yeah. So, but let's talk about that a little bit. But before we talk about that, I want to go back. Let's go back to Tammie Slay back in the early years. Should we go back
Let's roll.
Should we go to the Salina days?
How far back are we rolling here?
Let's
all
right.
How far back we go?
Let's just go back to when you were just a sprout, and you were before you even contemplated real estate, and then we'll kind of work our way forward. How's that? So tell us, what was it like growing up as Tammie Slay?
It was precocious. It was crazy. My mom would say it was stressful. Absolutely, growing up with Tammie Slay. I've always had a drive. From the minute I was born, I have always been very inquisitive, wanting to experience the world and see what I could accomplish, see what I could almost get away with a lot of the times. So my team is familiar with this story, but I'll sum it up real quickly so you can get an idea as to who Tammie Slay is. We moved a lot when we were younger, all around this area, but we were moving from home to home, even though they were a couple blocks away, but it would put me in a new school district, and this was in Garland. And in second grade, I had a rule I was not allowed to cross Beltline. So 8 years old, second grade, and my rule for me, my mom, for me, was you can no longer cross Beltline. You can't walk across Beltline because, again, crazy and wild. And a friend that I met at school, it was start of school, and I knew I had to be friends with her. And because how else is a kid going to survive in school without friends? But I couldn't get across Beltline to walk to her home after school. So I went down in the gutters, the storm drains, underneath the street, and I navigated them to get to her house. So what was it like being the mom of me? It was nuts. You should see the way I showed up. Like the lady, the mom of that friend, when I got there looking like a gutter rat, because I literally got there through the gutters, called my mom going, what's going on? Oh, I got in so much trouble.
Yeah. Well, see, some of you may think that's pretty unusual, but that's perfect training to be a realtor. That is absolutely the way that all kids should be brought up if they want to get in real estate.
Dead on.
You got to be resourceful.
You do.
Right? You got to learn how to be resourceful. Okay. Yeah. So after those years, you got a little bit older,
yes.
And how did your life change? What was going on, like, say, in your teenage years?
All right. So I did become a mother at 16. Precocious, anyways,
that's the second time she's used that big SAT word, precocious. I like it. Okay.
So I became a mom at 16. That was a huge turning point in my life. There was a lot of lessons I learned from that. There was a lot of trials and struggles I went through at that time, and I love my daughter dearly. She gave me my grandson last year, and it was difficult. I had to learn to be very resourceful. I had to, take the initiative a lot of times to claim what kind of life am I going to have for the starter. I didn't want to be a typical teenage mother. I didn't want to fall into that statistic or that stereotype. So we moved around a lot. There were times that I was homeless. There were times, and I want to clarify that it wasn't homeless on the street, but there were times where I would sleep on a friend's couch with my little baby for a couple of months until we could get somewhere else. And so there was a lot of struggles, but yet out of that perseverance, out of all that came glorious results. She's a dynamic woman, and I have learned so much in just building my life and building the family I have and building my team from those struggles.
Yeah, so write this down in the audience. If you watched last week's show with Veronica, was it last week? 2 weeks ago. Veronica Figueroa in Orlando, selling 750 homes this year, also was a single mom at 16. So the common DNA here is overcoming struggles. Did you have any other struggles in your life, or has it been just cherry pie since then?
No, it's not been cherry pie since then. I've had other struggles in my life.
Like what?
Recently, I would say a couple of years ago, so I had been an agent, just a brokerage agent with a boutique brokerage for about 13 years. And my previous broker, he was moving out of state and needed to sell the business because he would no longer be here, and he offered that company to me to purchase. And I did, and I took on this brokerage absolutely knowing nothing. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what to tell my people to do. They would come into the office and they'd look at me and they're like, all right, what do we do? And these are brand new agents. They're like, what do we do? And I go, call people.
Here's the phone book. Here's the desk. There's
call
the
people.
phone. Right.
And they would go, what do we say? I'm like, hello?
Yeah.
I had no systems in place at that time that was documented. I had systems, but they were in me.
They were all up here,
They
right?
were in here. And
yeah.
I didn't have any way to explain or articulate to my agent. So I bought this brokerage knowing nothing. But because of the qualities and the traits of previous struggles, I don't mean to go faith here, but I go back to the David and Goliath. David had challenged smaller, challenges, or he had overcome smaller challenges, the lion and the beast, before he tackled Goliath. And so I went back to those earlier lessons of, hey, I'm faced with a challenge here. What do I do? What's the grit? How do I find that within me to overcome that and move forward? And that's what I relied on.
So that inner strength, the perseverance, key factors in being successful in any business, but
Right.
in particular in real estate. Go back and tell us about that zero moment of truth when you woke up one day and you said, real estate is my calling. That's what I need to do. When was that?
That was years ago, and it was actually my husband's idea. So I had, at the time, I owned a bakery, and I was a bakery, and I was making wedding cakes and birthday shower cakes, and had that business, and it got so successful, and I want to say this humbly, it got to a point where I no longer enjoyed the business side of it. The creativity wasn't there for me. People were bringing orders in and they're saying, can you recreate this? This is somebody else's. And I was looking at some things going, it's not fun to me. That they're just not exciting to me to recreate that. And I was sharing that with him, and he said, well, what do you think about real estate? And I went, how did I go from cakes to real estate? And I don't know why he thought that, but he said, well, you do like law, you like contract law. So to him it was, that's what you like, and I do. And he said, so why don't you try real estate? So I started researching a little bit about real estate and looking more into it, and
there you go.
And there you go.
So all right, so just a deep dive right into real estate. How was that first year? Did you crush it?
Absolutely not.
No? Okay. So
Not
if you're
at
out there in the
all.
audience and you're in your first year,
You're gonna
and
be
you're
all
not-
right.
If you're not doing too well, hold on. There's hope here, all right?
Give it a few years.
Tell us about that first year, Tammie.
That first year, so I remember when I had my very first buyer, and they came to me and said, we want to make an offer on a home. And we had already looked at these houses, and I said, okay, great, let's make an offer. And I got back to my house, and I pulled up the computer, and I went, now what? Hey, they want to write an offer. Where does that go?
Right.
And I called my broker on the phone. I said, so I have these people, they want to write an offer. What document is that? And he said, well, it's the contract, the sales contract, the 1-to-4 family. I went, no, that's the contract. And he said, yeah. And I went, no, surely there's a document I put the offer details on. It took me 30 minutes to figure out what he meant by that. And this was before Zoom. He could have easily have put me on Zoom. But just that, I had no clue what I was doing. Those poor buyers, and I hope they never know that I had no clue what I was doing.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. Now it's all over the internet now.
I know.
Yeah.
They don't know who they are.
They don't know who they are.
They don't know they
You
were
drugged
the
them, huh?
first.
Yeah.
But they've been repeat clients. They're
So
good.
how many deals did you do your first year? Do you recall?
3.
3 deals.
3 deals.
That's about poverty line.
Yeah.
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 That's that's kind of a
And I think at the time, like, I was told that's awesome.
Yeah,
You could even
right.
get 3 in 1 year.
yeah. Now, what do you tell new agents now, though, when you bring new agents on? How many do you tell them? What kind of expectations do you set for them?
24 minimum.
24.
24.
Okay, so 3 is off like a herd of turtles, then, right? I mean, if
Yeah.
you're talking about a huge difference,
I don't
right?
tell the normal agent to expect 24. I tell them to create something that's going to generate 24 their first business. I don't lead anybody because the expectation is there. The typical agent does not do 24 in a year.
Okay, I can hear the paper rustling and the pens coming out. How in the world does an agent in their first year manage to do 24 deals?
First, by the right mentorship. A lot of agents come into this in the beginning and they start thinking, well, I want I want to keep the most of my commission, and they're not realizing that's going to set you up for failure, because you're going to spend a lot of money in your first year just getting your business up and going, and you're not going to have the mentorship to teach you how to take command of your business and create business on your own, no matter where you go. So the first is you have to have a great mentor.
Okay, did you write that down? Great mentor. What else?
What else is then the training? So what
Okay.
you found a mentor, what kind of training they're doing, make the commitment, full-time over part-time. I rarely see
Full-time over part-time.
part-time agents.
So what's
make
your
it.
recommendation to somebody that says, hey, I can't afford to leave my corporate job. I'm going to start real estate full-time. What do you think?
They're going to still stay at their corporate job?
Yeah.
Then they're not going to do real estate full-time.
Yeah, it doesn't happen, does it?
doesn't, no.
Isn't it better to go real estate full-time and then pick up a side hustle that you can do part-time to keep your car and your lights on if you're going to have to work at all? But you've got to do 40 to 50 hours a week.
You have to do
You
40.
have to.
You have to.
Real estate is full-time. Can you imagine hiring a renal specialist for a kidney transplant that works part-time?
No. No.
I wouldn't.
I mean, if I were going through a divorce, and I'm not, I still love you, honey, but if I were going through a divorce and I were fighting for my kids, I wouldn't hire the attorney that touches 2 contracts a year.
Or
I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't use the same attorney your husband's using either.
No, I wouldn't.
Which is why buyers shouldn't go to listing agents.
Right.
Right? Okay.
No, I would hire an attorney that is touching contracts all the time. So when
Right.
we're talking about a $500,000 purchase, those people, no matter how much they love you, your friends, your family, they want someone that is touching contracts all the time.
Right. So you got to do the job. You got to do the work. You got to be involved. You got to be doing deals.
Yes.
Okay. So we talked about mentorship, training. What's the third thing?
Right. So really tracking what you're doing.
Tracking.
Tracking
Okay.
what you're
Give
doing.
us an example. What do we track?
Okay, so we do this thing where we track our numbers, and I call it the magic number. When you know your magic number, you can create business, however much business or little business you want, no matter what market you're in. So tracking how many calls do you make a day, how many emails do you make a day, how many showings do you make a day, and you give a point value to each of those activities. So if I want to close 30 closings at the end of the year, I know how many phone calls I have to make to hit that 30.
Okay.
For me, for Tammie Slay, it's 41. So 41 times 100,
Okay.
41 times 500, however many closings I want to hit, I do what I need to do for 41 times whatever, and I'll make my goal.
Okay.
I already know it.
So it's a math problem.
It is a math problem.
And it's predictable.
Yes.
And it's proven.
It's proven.
Right?
It's
So
proven.
why don't all agents take that approach to their business?
The majority of agents just it's a habit. Changing a habit is very difficult to do. So it's the data entry part of it is time consuming. And when I say time consuming, you're probably doing about 30 minutes of the data entry on that. But the majority of agents will just bypass on that, or they just don't have the drive that they even want to generate 100 closings in a year.
It certainly couldn't be as hard or as stressful as wondering where your next mortgage payment's coming from.
You would think.
You would think,
You
right?
would think.
Yeah, it's just doing the grind is
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Is there anything else? So we talked about sort of accountability, training, mentorship. What else is important in there?
Culture.
Culture.
Yeah.
Culture. Now, what do you mean by yogurt culture? What kind of culture are you talking about? Trellis? Is
I
this
do love a good
TCBY? What are we
yogurt.
talking about? Culture. What?
Especially some frozen yogurt.
Right?
Frozen
I do
yogurt, yeah.
like
What's culture? Tell us, what is culture all about? Why is that important?
Culture is, when you wake up in the morning and what is that thought that gets you out of bed? So when you have to stay after work to place one more phone call, what is that drive? So a lot of people term it as your big why. It's bigger than just knowing your why. It is literally your culture. It's your core values. It's your mission statement. It's the people you surround yourself. When you become the sum of the 5 closest people around you, that's your culture. So if you're surrounded by a lot of people that are making 20 grand a year, guess what? It's gonna be very hard for you to leave that 20 grand a year and make $100,000 a year.
Right.
And when we look at organizations, so if I were to look at, bikers, and I don't mean motorcycle, but it could be motorcycle bikers. I meant cyclists. They surround themselves with other cyclists.
Right.
You don't have a cyclist hanging out with, a wrestler. Not on a time-consuming basis. They're hanging out with other cyclists because they have the same goals. They have the same mission. They have the same drive. They have the same things they want to overcome and accomplish. And it's the same thing in wrestling. It could be a Harley Davidson. Those bikers hang out together too. So it's your culture. Who are you surrounded with that's going to get you to that next level?
C3, is your brain hurting? Did your dad ever used to tell you about
my father and my grandfather both? You're an average of the 5 people you hang around the most, right?
Yeah. And then how can you soar with the eagles?
Soar with the eagles.
If you're hanging around with the squirrels
right.
at night, right?
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Okay.
Yep.
That's still
it's still true today.
True today,
it's
right?
100%.
True today.
And will always be true.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Okay. What about leads? Where do new people get leads from?
Leads can come in from a variety of ways. Depending on what company or team you join, there's likely website leads. But let's say you're an agent and you have no leads provided to you by your company. Pick up your phone. Pick it up.
What does that mean? Pick it up.
All right. So how many contacts do you think you have in your phone right now?
Oh, his phone? Too many.
Yeah,
All right.
got quite a few.
So,
Roughly about 1,000, right?
roughly an average person would have about 1,000 contacts.
Really?
Start going down.
Wow.
From A to Z?
From A to Z.
Yeah.
Just
What
start
do
going
you
down.
say? What do you say to the folks? I mean,
Hey C3, it's Tammie Slay. How are you doing? Tell me how you're doing, C3.
I'm doing
Role
great.
play.
Hey, thank
Role
you
play.
so much. Haven't heard from you in a while, Tammie. What's up?
Oh, just, staying busy, doing different things with the family. My son's getting married next week, true story. And my grandson is turning 1. Anyways, there's a lot happening in the market right now, and I'm just curious. Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate at the moment?
Is it that easy?
It really is that easy.
Is it that easy?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you mean people aren't going to cuss you out and hang up on you for calling them and talking about
Not if they're in your
family?
phone.
Oh, yeah, right.
Not if they're in your phone? Oh,
phone.
gotcha. Okay. All right.
Not if they're in your
now,
phone.
expires, those are a different story.
Those
right?
are a little
Okay,
different
all right.
story. Those
Yeah.
take a little bit extra grit.
Yeah, but really, just to get yourself off the ground,
Right. What a great example, though.
This is most millennials I know. This is not a phone; it's a texting device, right?
Right.
It's really hard for them to get out of the habit of texting people or calling people instead of
Right.
texting them. The phone weighs 1,000 pounds. They hide behind the text. They don't have to show any emotion or who they are or anything like that, right? How do people get used to using the phone again? Do you guys have a trick or a tip that you could offer?
So I'm going to go back to my gutter story.
Okay.
So when I first, and at that point, I never had played in the gutters before, but when I first went down in that gutter and I turned around and I looked at this tunnel that was completely black, pitch black in there, and it stunk and it was hot because it's Texas and it's August, school starting, and you could hear some little dripping of water. It was scary. 8 years old, terrified getting down in there, and I had a choice to make. I can either move forward through the dark or I could turn around and go home. But if I knew if I turned around and went home, I was literally going to die, because I had to have this friend. This girl knew other people, and I want to be her friend. And she just got a new Barbie doll house. And I wanted to be there. So I had to make a choice. Go through my fear or turn around and go home. Now, I actually went home. So this is what I go back to a lot that I learned. I went home, and I got a flashlight. I went back down in that storm drain, and I went to my friend's house. And so when I tell people there's going to be things you're going to do in this business, there's going to be things you're going to do in life that will continue to scare you. I get on roller coasters and I close my eyes, but I still get on there because my children want me to ride a roller coaster with them. So don't worry about how you can overcome the fear. Just acknowledge it. When you acknowledge you're scared to place that call, it'll enable you to find a way to get through it and to place that call. And it might be a tool, it might be a script, it might be a buddy, it might actually be a place where you go alone because you don't want to place a call. We have an agent in the office that doesn't like placing calls in front of other people. It's intimidating to her. So go somewhere alone. When you figure it out, what's causing the fear, you'll find a tool or someone to help you make that next step.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Tony Robbins, getting in state
Yes.
before you get on the phone. Zig Ziglar, gratitude conquers fear. Sit down and write 10 things that you're thankful for before you get on the phone to get rid of that fear.
Yeah.
There's lots of little tips and tricks that will help you do that. But call reluctance is something you just need to recognize. It is a disease and it can be cured. Call reluctance, okay?
Yeah.
And if you don't want to do it yourself, go find the right coach. Now, speaking of coaches, the Workman Success Program, we actually love it. We've got clients who are killing it. We've got a master license at our group for the Workman Success Training Center, and we make it available to our agents because we really believe it is the best. Verla's done an incredible job putting that in, and you actually have done a couple of the videos in there
Yes.
in Ramp. Okay,
Yes.
Rick Jiha was doing Slam when we were doing training yesterday. Thank you, brother Rick. We appreciate you, man.
Love Rick.
A great guy. And so, as far as coaching goes, I mean, it's just like pro athletes, right? They all have coaches. And to get to the top of anything, you got to have coaching and guidance and so forth. If you were to speak to an agent that is struggling in their first or second year, how would you convince them that they need coaching when right now they're having trouble paying their rent?
So if it's a full-time agent, someone who truly wants to succeed in this business and build a career and their own business out of it, then one is, how can they not afford it? Literally, how can you not? Because it is going to be what's going to take you to the next step. Anytime I'm coaching someone or I'm talking to someone who's at the point like, I can't afford it, then I say, well, what would you invest in that would generate a 5-time return? So, we invest in websites, we invest in lead generation, we invest in other platforms out there that we can have a return on. And not many people look at coaching as really, this is to generate a return. So let's come up with that number. If you invest $500, $1,000, $2,000, what kind of return do you need to see on that? Because that is actually what coaching does.
Right.
It's a return on investment. It takes your business to the next level, and it generates money for you. Anytime you're investing in something in your business, there has to be a generation of return.
Yeah.
Same with coaching.
And you can measure it. And guys, this is not a sales fest for coaching, okay? We're at the top. We're trying to send the elevator back down to get you, all right? But that's what got us where we are. And if we didn't feel this way, we certainly wouldn't be up here telling you guys to do it. But there is no question. Go ahead.
Without a doubt. I mean, even look to my left and right. They both have coaches still to this day.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're at the top of their games, and
Yeah.
it's just continually getting better and getting coached by someone that's better than you. Really, I mean,
Absolutely.
I was going to ask you if you have a coach, and I know
Yeah.
you have a coach, so
I've got several.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just important. It's not a sales fest, but it's important to get the right mentorship, and coaching definitely
Right.
helps out.
Because
so.
what got you where you are right now is not what's going to get you where you want to be. I'm just
Totally.
telling you that. You may have
Amen.
been successful in other careers, but the reality is that real estate's a little bit of a different animal. And it's a lot of on-the-job training. And it's also a place where somebody who's been there before can get you through a lot quicker than you can get it done yourself. So please, we're pleading to you actually, because we want to see you all be successful and not be one of the statistics. You guys know how ugly the numbers are. Out of 100 agents, 82 of them are not even going to renew after the first year. Right? Only 16 of them.
And they went into a lot of debt.
Yeah, they went into a lot of debt.
Yeah.
16 of those that's how many are left.
Right.
And most of those are not even going to sell $1 million a year. That's poverty level, right?
It's crazy.
Right.
It's about 2 out of 100 that actually can sell more than $2 million a year. And I guarantee you those 2 are the ones that are listening, and they're the ones that are getting great help. So there's no question, this is one of those fields where the right mentor can make or break your career in this business. Okay, and I was just looking at the clock.
Holy
wow,
cow.
can you believe that? Is this amazing?
We've had fun.
This has been a lot of fun.
I'd say so.
But here's what I want to do. You're a coach, $1,750 for 2 30-minute phone calls. 45-minute phone calls? Okay. I want you to give a couple of your absolute best tips for our audience today. What can you just lay down the value for them in the last couple of minutes here, will you?
All right.
Put you on the spot.
Okay. One is become very self-aware of who you are and where you want to go. Many people will just do the do. Like they're just getting up and they're doing the do, and they don't know where they want to end up at the end of the year, or where they want to end up in 5 years or 10 years. Think farther out. Don't think tomorrow. Don't think next month. You got to think farther. You got to think a year out. You got to think 3 years out. You got to think 5 years out. So where are you going in this career? Come up with a really good business plan. And a really good coach can help you come up with a business plan. But think farther out. Where are you going with this? So start putting in action and putting a plan in place to get you there. So that's one. Something I tell brand new agents is just simply make the call. Just make the call. So that's another one that I use a lot, even with my team. It's like, what are you going to do today? You're going to make that call? Make that call. Just make the call.
Yep.
It's more important to make the call than actually it is even what you're saying. You've got to get in the habit of making that call.
Right. There are some people who are waiting for perfection, and it's killing them.
It
right?
is.
You don't have to be perfect. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
No.
You
cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. This is like baseball. The more trips you get to the plate, the more chances you get to get on base, right?
Yeah.
It's that simple, guys.
And then every once in a while, you get a home run or a grand slam.
A grand salami, that's right. Yeah, and it happens, right? There are times when we are grossly underpaid and times when we're grossly overpaid, right? But on average, it all works out and it's great. Well, Tammie, I am so excited to have you on the show. We're going to have to make the show an hour long next time you come on because we got so much to talk about.
I love
Great
it.
stuff. We didn't even hit the tip of the iceberg.
No, not at all.
In terms of the things that you do for agents and your team, your group. You have an awesome team in Frisco. I love the way you came up with the name and stuff. It's so genuine and so honest, and you're such a real person. I mean, a lot of people.
I'm not fake.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm real. I'm real.
But a lot of people in your position, agents look at you and go, "Oh my God, she must have something, different than the rest of us because she's this coach and she's got her own brokerage and all this kind of stuff." And you're just a normal person. But it's like we talked about earlier. You're coachable yourself.
Yes.
We didn't even go into the story about how Viral turned your life around.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. And your business. You bought the brokerage. You didn't really know what to do with it. You were telling that story, but it was actually that relationship with a coach that you had that got you where you are now.
It is. It is. I opened a second brokerage, and that was Hip Realty Group, and it came from the core values because I hired a coach who took me to the basics and said, what are you even doing? What are you wanting to build? Who is Tammie Slay?
Right.
And the entire culture and the spirit of our company generated from within me, but I had to have a coach to get me there.
Right. Most people in this business are renting a career.
Ooh.
What we want them to do is own a business, right?
Yes.
Own a business. Not even just be the CEO of the business, but be the owner.
Yeah.
Be the owner of your business. That's awesome. Well, you do great things for people, and it's such a pleasure to call you a friend and to have you on the show. And I know you had a lot of impact on the folks out in the audience today. Tammie, if somebody wanted to reach out to you just to say hi or get to know you, what's the best way for somebody to reach you?
469-585-0665. Look at me, I just gave my cell phone
Did you
out.
just do that?
I did
Now
totally
in front of
do that.
128 million
I have an
people.
admin in the back here going, no.
All right. So
But find me on Facebook.
Find her on Facebook. What's your phone number one more time? 469, what is it?
585-0665.
0665. Give her a text. Don't blow her phone up. She's in the studio right now. But seriously, you have such a kind heart and a heart of service, and that's what we're both doing. We're here to help lift people up, and so if we can speak a word and help you somehow, that's definitely what we'd like to do.
Hey, Cliff, we got a lot of interaction going on too. She helped a lot of people today, is what it looks like.
Is that right on Facebook?
Oh man, from Britton Bishop, Marianne Pachulia.
Yeah,
Yeah, Paul Sessom.
Oh my gosh. We love you, Paul. How you doing, brother?
A lot of people chiming in. Really great job, Tammie.
Hey, before we close out today, I wanted to just kind of see if we could take a second and just have a word about the hurricane and those that may be impacted and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we our hearts go out to our friends in Lake Charles and Louisiana, and especially the real estate community there. I think Texas dodged a bullet, and unfortunately it went and laid down on our friends in Louisiana. So our hearts and prayers go out to you guys, and and just let us know you're okay. We've got very good friends and associates out in that neck of the woods, and we just pray that God's got His hand on you and has you in His grip. So you guys stay safe. Appreciate that, C3. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Trelvis, great to see you today, man. I'll tell you, like we say, you're the highlight of our week, and we always love coming in here and hanging out with you. We thank you so much for everything. And
Pleasure's always mine.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Yeah.
Congratulations again.
and
How
go
cool
get
is
your
that?
go get your copy of D Magazine and help us help us pay for that ad. Send us some referrals, will you? Yeah, we sure appreciate it. Well, guys, thank you again, Tammie, so much. So wonderful to see you.
Thank
Will you come back
you.
on and spend some more time with us?
Oh, yes, I've had a blast.
Great.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds awesome. I know the audience would love it too, and so would we. Trelvis, thank you, kind sir. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, get out there and enjoy it. This is the last round of 100-degree heat you're going to get out and have fun with. Get out there, shake your booty, get it done, and we'll see you next week on Cliff's Notes. All right, folks, tune in to Cliff's Notes every Thursday at 1 o'clock Central for the tips, tricks, and tactics to explode your business. I guarantee it.